Hello, gangsters. It's Accurate again, back with another episode of this shit. 1 2 1 2. So the microphone could be, whatever. Super loud in my headphones, super quiet in my headphones, whatever. Here we are. We are up and running. Welcome to another episode. That feels wrong. That's better. Welcome to another episode of the Beat Review live stream thing. Kind of a live stream on YouTube, kind of a video thing, kind of a radio show. I don't even know at this point. But we are here, we are live, and we are listening to music today. That's what we do. That's what this entire concept is all about. Me listening to music from you guys, and you guys in the chat room helping me out to give some valuable, constructive feedback. Constructive criticism, constructive, praise and glory and whatever the music at hand deserves, We are here half an hour later than usual, a little bit off schedule because of life, but we are here. And, due to bad planning, I've got cables running to my mouse and keyboard and stuff. Not happy about that, but it is what it is. As always, I've been a little bit stressed out, doing a lot of things beforehand, and now just jumping on the stream, and here we are. So, whatever. Last week, we decided to keep the forum open for a while. The forum where you can submit your beats to be featured on the show. To keep everything as live as possible. We're just accepting beats during the entire show, or the show itself, and playing them back on the same stream, Last week we decided to keep it open for a little bit longer, like 10 or 15 minutes, to allow as many people as possible to submit. And I think that's not a bad idea. And then picking beats at random, not allowing everything to be played, because I'm just one guy and we don't have all the time in the world, and you guys doesn't have all the patience in the world for me to do this for 5 or 6 hours, or however long it would take. So what I'm doing right now is that I'm updating the website as we speak. Not gonna sit here and chit chat about whatever for like 20 minutes before. It's open from now, which means you could go to accuratebeats.com right now and just go to the beat review page and submit your beat on this forum, and the file has to be less than 10 megabytes, so a compressed kind of audio format like MP3 or whatever like that. So it's open and you're allowed to send in your beats through the website right now. Cool. Now, as that's all been said and whatever, it's time to address you guys. Hi, people. And the forum seems to be working today, too. We have a few beats already. That's nice. So, a big shout out to Carbon Vibes, Illinois, Benj, Beat Owl, Salberts, Kane TV, Illinois, Blaze Beats. Guken is here. I haven't seen you in a while, have I? That's nice. Thanks a lot for being here, and welcome to the show. I keep talking about this live stream as a show. I don't know how much I feel like that for real, but we're here, we're listening to music, and it's going to be a good time. I've done this every single Monday for quite some time, even though we had a few hiccups. Me basically not doing shows 2 consecutive weeks, I think. Now we're back on track, but next week we're not doing this. We're doing something else. I don't even know. Well. Guken says, new job, been a little bit stressy. Yeah, cool. But thanks a lot for checking in again. We appreciate having everyone that's willing to spend the time with us to actually do that. LUV says, last week I wasn't picked. No, I'm sorry about that. Sometimes, it is what it is. I'm doing this as random as possible. I'm not like picking names I recognize or favorites of mine or whatever like that. we're trying to do is as random as possible. And you are able to send in beats right now through the website, accuratebeats.com. Cool. So 1 camera, 2 cameras, nothing more like that. And it feels a little bit darker than it normally does because I've done some stuff with my camera lights for reasons. But sorry, is it nice and moody or is it just too dark? I don't know. Or who cares? Beat Owl asks, hey, Ak, what's up with Deluge video? Yeah, that's a good question. Sometimes you just fail on certain projects, right? The Deluge is right here, and I've used it a lot, but I haven't made a dedicated video on it because I just suck. My life has been a little bit up and down, you know? So excuses, whatever. It's a little bit dark, yeah, sure. I think it is. Should we take the time to fix that as we're waiting for the beats to come in? Yeah, I think we should. Darker than I expected. So, video and live streaming is just a combination of light and camera settings. So we cranked up the camera settings a little bit. It should be a little bit brighter on both of them. Might be too much, I don't even know. Whatever. The room definitely has a Monday vibe. Okay, cool. But now it's a little bit brighter, you know? Atamonos bought an MPC-1 last week. Like the first MPC-1? That's nice. Cool. The only issue with the MPC-1 is the lack of Wi-Fi. To me. It's an awesome device. One of my favorite MPCs by far. I use the MPC Keys 37 a lot myself because it just has everything and I like it. But the MPC-1 is definitely up there among my favorites. And we have received a lot of beats. You guys wants to be played. Love that. I love that. A few names that are familiar and also a few names I haven't seen in a while. And a few names I haven't seen at all. Yeah, just a few of them. A lot of regulars in the submissions today. Cool. Let's wait for a little bit longer. Just because we can. But I think this concept makes sense. Somewhat. To just accept beats for a longer period of time and just picking them by random. It doesn't need to be more difficult than that, you know? And that's what it is. But again, no beat review live stream next week. It's just not going to happen. I kind of need a break or want a break or whatever. And I think this makes more sense to do like every other week or maybe once a month. I don't even know. Damn. Obviously, I have a problem with committing to ideas and just keeping up with them. I lose interest and whatever. This concept has never been boring, though. This is awesome. This is great. Just starting to feel like a chore. I don't even know. It's also Easter next Monday. Okay, so that's maybe a reason not to do it. I don't know. I ordered a new sample yesterday, says Benj. The EMU ESI 4000. Let's check that out. Images. Okay, it's a rack-mounted one. I don't know how much information I have about it, but it seems to be like a really vintage rack-mounted sampler, which is cool, you know? Switching up the workflow by adding stuff like that is nice. Cool. So I think it's time to get into the actual submissions and start listening to a little bit of music. That is what we are here for, you know? And that's what I'm talking about. Like just hanging out with you guys, just chit-chatting about gear and stuff. I love that too. And I want to do a little bit more of that. And also like just making beats on live streams. So keeping my live stream situation a little bit more open seems to make sense. Doing beat reviews every single week with the same people. It's nice and I love it. But the algorithms, the workflow, the life, you never know. You never know. Sometimes things just needs to be changed up a little bit. So yeah, let's refresh, and doesn't seem to refresh. Okay, there we are. So we have 17 submissions so far and 46 people watching. So I'm going to leave it open for a little bit longer to see what happens. If we're getting a lot of stuff coming in or if this is like all of them. But let's just dive into this. Let's open up VLC, which is down there. You know, my setup is working kind of flawlessly, which is not always a given. So let's do this one from Lom Beats. Lomm Beats is going to be the first one. Maybe a different kind of start for this one, because the message for this is industrial sounding beat. Maybe industrial sounding beat. That sounds interesting to me. Not sure what that means, but still. And I want to be able to, let's check out my Bluetooth settings. Yeah, the mouse now has 50%. That's fine. No cable. Feels good. And the same with that one. Boom. There we are. I could have done that as I'm playing the beat. I know, but I didn't. It is what it is. I suck. Sure. Accurate beat. Can you Grumpy Snorlax? I know you from Instagram. Or Grumpy Snorlax says, can you increase the MB on the submission page? None of my stuff is under 10 megabytes. Even as an MP3. For real? We're just playing 2 minutes of the tracks. I'm not playing music that's like 6 minutes long. I'm cutting everything off at like 2 minutes. If you can't make 2 minutes MP3 under 10 megabytes, to be honest, Grumpy Snorlax, no, I can't. This megabyte limit is not up to me. It's actually everything that Squarespace is giving me the option to do. I thought about having this shared Dropbox folder, but that seemed less secure. And I thought about making this G Drive, Google Drive thing, and the same with that. It doesn't really feel rock solid. And this submission version from Squarespace sucks because it's limited to 10 megabytes, I know. But right now, I can't increase it. I can't. Not sure why. It's just the limitation of Squarespace. They don't want to host files that are bigger than that, I guess. Which seems crazy since we have stuff like YouTube where you can just upload infinite numbers of whatever. But yeah, I'm afraid not. Not for this time. Maybe in the future. I'm not promising anything. So the first beat needs to be played. This is Lom Beats, who said something about industrial sounding beats. yeah, let's check it out and let's have a listen. And please, if you are hanging out in the chat room and you are the producer of this one, don't take offense. People are normally nice and friendly and, constructive. And if you're just hanging out in the chat room waiting for your beat to be played, help us out. Show each other some love and give some feedback to other producers. That's a part of this entire thing. Because I'm not the one with all the answers. I'm a worse producer than most of you guys, honestly. So I don't claim to have all the answers. I don't say that my opinions are right. Help us out on the chat room and let's create this little thing where we talk to each other about the beats. What's good about them? What could be better? So, now, Lom Beats, let's go. So you dropped the sample at the end and I just want to hear more of, this. Let's, over here. What is that sample? How did you use it? What's up? So the first submission for today came from Lom Beats. And he talked about industrial beats, maybe. I don't know how industrial this is. It's hard and it's gritty and it's aggressive. But it's not like... When I think industrial music, I think like, big band saws and stuff like that just makes noise and it's not musical, whatever. This was really musical, really nice. The first thing that stood out to me, if I'm looking to like give some feedback or criticism, I'm not a huge fan of the hi-hat. Maybe it's just too loud in the mix, but to me it just, maybe it needs to be pitched up, pitched down, replaced altogether, lowered in volume. I don't know. Something to me like doesn't resonate. The track itself and the hi-hat that doesn't fit in when it comes to like my own musical taste. But I'm wrong 9 times out of 10, so what do I know? A nice little vocal chop and some cool aggression with the bass line and stuff going on. There was a few things happening in terms of rhythm that was really interesting. Let's see if we can find that real quick. Well, the kick drum really works in this beat. It's a nice kick drum and it's used in a really cool way. And the way you have the build-up going, like not using the vocal chop in the entire thing. Makes a lot of sense to me. Maybe you wanted to introduce the vocal chop as a part of the chorus or something. To me, it makes sense. Hey, we have YouTube celebrity in the chat room. Tetro. Okay, I haven't seen this before. Tetro gave, this isn't Swedish for me, so gave away 5 Accurate Beats memberships. How does that even work? Okay, so people in the chat room got memberships from Tetro. 5 members? I really don't know how that works, but awesome stuff. Cool. Tetro, thanks a lot for supporting the thing. Awesome. How do I send a beat? Yeah, accuratebeats.com. Check out the website, go to beat review, and there you are. Tetro, thank you. Tetro is, an awesome producer, an awesome YouTuber. Seems to be a really cool guy too. As far as I've spoken to him or whatever. Tetro is supporting us. Nice. Good to know. Good to know. Tetro's in the house. Yeah, sure. He is. Much love. Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for supporting the little thing we're trying to build. Slowly but steadily, having a good time, being all relaxed and laid back. It's not about the numbers. It's not about the whatever. It's about the community and the music. So this beat right here from Lom Beats, do we have anything more to say about it? I kind of lost all the feedback in the chat room because, Someone mentioned that it sounds like LP or Company Flow, and yeah, maybe a little bit. And I'm noticing, I now know what's wrong with a hi-hat, according to me. It's stiff. It's on the same level, the same volume over the entire thing. The open hi-hat, I don't have a problem with that, but the closed hi-hat, just varying the different velocity settings on it over time would make the entire thing feel more natural and I wouldn't be able to pay attention to the hi-hat like I did. And the distortion in the bass line going on creates all these different harmonics and stuff. Really cool stuff. Nice drums, nice melodics, cool way of using the sample every now and then. Yeah, big up. Shout out. That's good. Great stuff. Thanks a lot for submitting it. Means a lot to have producers of this level. Again, I say it every single week, but having somewhat of a community of people that's coming back to the show, delivering beats on a really high level. Music that sounds really well made, well produced. You put some love and some attention behind it. It means a lot. It's cool. Lom Beats himself says, thanks for listening. I agree about the hi-hat. It can be better. Lower also. Yeah, maybe a little swing on the hi-hat. I'm not sure that swing always is the solution, but in this case it might be. And I'm noticing that, electric guitar backbeat riff makes it sound really aggressive and really cool, but not in like a weird or unfriendly type of way. Nice. Good job, and thanks a lot for submitting. Cool stuff. So let's mark Lom Beats as read. We played it. We had some thoughts about it, and even though I'm sure I missed a lot of it, I think there were some valuable points of feedback in the chat room as well. Someone mentioning Portishead, and I'm not sure that I agree, but whatever. Good work. For sure. So, to give someone else the attention that they deserve, let's just go to Jason Vman. Jason Vman. I don't know. The message reads, "It's not hip-hop. It's a rock instrumental I made. I don't know if you check this type of stuff out." I do. This is open for anything. I've said that from the beginning. I know my genre and I'm really like stuck in my ways, for sure, but I'm open to play anything. Either way, I've been watching for years, love the content, good to see you healthy. Thank you, man. Thank you. I've been healthy for a while now. People keep forgetting about time. You know, my tumor and stuff, that was like in 2019. So it's been a while since then. But I'm really glad to be healthy too. I'm not saying anything else. Now, a rock instrumental, how can we handle that? You never know. Let's at least give it a try, you know? All right, I'm sorry about that volume thing. I couldn't see that coming. My bad. I should open it in Logic or whatever to see where the volume spikes are. That's not what I do. It's just a media player. So I really didn't I failed to caught that. I did not caught that. I didn't catch that. That's what you say. Because the interesting part of this entire track to me was the intro. And the intro was a little bit quiet in volume, so I boosted it. And then all hell just broke loose. And I'm sorry about that. The intro of this is, to me, really, really good stuff. This makes me think more about Portishead than the last track we played. Again, let's crank the volume and just play the first few seconds. This is nice. That reversed kind of thing, that's cool. Yeah, that's nice and moody, and I love that, for real. I think that's awesome. If I found that on an old piece of vinyl or something, I would use that as a sample 100%. 100%. But what happens later on is, I'm not a rock kind of guy. I'm like the opposite of a rock kind of guy. So this... kind of nice and moody and somewhat beautiful, sure. But to me, as a producer, just like the sound of distorted guitars like that is just not... it just doesn't appeal to me whatsoever. I understand that the songwriting part of this and like having an actual vocalist on top of this, doing something impressive, like something nice, would be really cool and makes it into like a great song, I'm sure. I just have a hard time myself to appreciate the production choices made here. Did we say Portishead before? This sounds like Radiohead, more like Radiohead. And I can appreciate that kind of rock music a little bit more than like pure metal. But the problem, I'm not talking about this piece of music specifically, but the problem with being an old school hip hop guy using like drum samples and, drum breaks and stuff, is that a part of me, when it comes to my musical taste, like my subjective taste, this... I keep talking about not liking or not understanding or maybe just hating reverb on snare samples, snare drums with reverb. My entire philosophy behind that comes from music like this. I'm sure this is like, a drum kit, a digital drum kit, like the one from Excellent Audio, Addictive Drums, something like that. The snare sample isn't bad, but the way it sounds in the mix, like an acoustic kind of drum set with this type of processing, to me it's been done so many times before, and I have a problem myself to understand and appreciate it, because it's not my musical aesthetic, if that's a thing you can say. But it's not bad. In terms of a piece of music, this is good. You have all the harmonies with the guitar, you have all the melodies that you need. Everything is in there. But my musical taste is just not where this is. But if we chop this up in three different parts, like the intro, the really warm and cozy and nice and beautiful intro, and then the harder, like totally distorted part, and then like the verse section. To me, like the intro is definitely the strongest part, and then the verse section, the more laid back version of it. It's nice. When you go ham with the guitars, like playing full chords, going like rock, it's just not my cup of tea. But it's not a bad production. It's not. Just because I myself tend to have a few opinions about what it represents and what it is, it's not my thing, But sure, all the different riffs and all the different melodies comes together in a way that's kind of pleasing from a musical standpoint. I just wish we had different instrumentation of the entire thing in a different style, But we played it, we talked about it for a little bit, and I think we need to move on. What are you guys saying? Who made this? Someone in the chat, I think. It should be someone in the chat. People are responding to him. Reverb on that snare sounds like the music is being played in a big hall, when in reality it should be played on headphones. Yeah. To me, like, sure, I understand the aesthetic of using reverbs on the entire drum bus like that. But to me, it just doesn't sound right. You know? That's what a drum set would sound like in like a big hall. Sure. But that's not what I want to hear in my headphones when I listen to music. You know, if I'm in this concert hall, it is what it is. But, you know, adding that type of effect on something, to me, I just don't understand it. I've never had. I'm still learning Studio Drummer. I agree on the reverb. JY, are you the producer behind this? JY? Maybe not. I don't know. Sounds like a stadium. Sure. I thought it sounded cool. Just needed some vocals. Yeah, that's the problem with... Not the problem, but that's one of the issues about like trying to analyze an instrumental piece of music like this. Because it's not supposed to be an instrumental. Right? That's obviously not what it is. Someone is supposed to sing something on top of this. It's a song, you know? So we're not getting the full picture, and I do acknowledge that. I'm just saying, when it comes to my own preference, this is not up my alley. But still, it's always cool and awesome and great and fun that people are making music. You know? Jason Weirman, Jason Weirman, thanks a lot for sending it in. I like being able to like feature music that's not in my genre. I do, even though it maybe doesn't sound like it. I think it's fun. And obviously the forum is still open for submission. So we now have 30 beats, which is impossible for me to cover. So maybe let's play the next track, and as the track plays, I'm gonna go in and close it. You can't send in more beats now. It doesn't make any sense. So the next one will be this one. Daniel Christensen. Hey there, I made a beat on the OPXY. I'm from Denmark. I hope you like it, and feel free to give me some feedback. Yeah, that's the entire purpose of this. That's what we aim to do. Made on the OPXY. Right? Made on the OPXY. Is that what it's called? I'm getting confused. Yes, it is. The OPXY. Sunrise. Let's play this one. cool. Thanks a lot for sending this one over, Daniel Christensen. Or Daniel Christensen? I don't even know. Thanks a lot. So, saying that the beat was made on the PXY makes me think in the music in a certain way, which is not good. You shouldn't do that. Any type of gear is able to do anything. I kind of know. But starting out the beat like this, just making it feel super synthy. I mean, I'm not hating on this. Synths are cool, and having beats, making beats that sounds synthy is not a bad thing. But you surprised me a lot with the drums coming in. At this point, you don't know what you're getting into. Then it becomes this. And I mean, the entire drive and the entire flow of this track comes from the drums and these extended bass notes that really carries the entire thing forward. I think that's nice. I think it's cool. And by contrast, then using this plucky kind of synth sound, it's not bad. Not bad by any means. It's a nice kind of contrast. And, those drums and that bass line could be something completely different. Something that's way harder and more aggressive and whatever. And I think you kind of... I like the vibe of this. Because the synth sound, just in the vacuum, they're kind of cute. They're kind of nice and, soft and subtle. And then just going ham with the drums and the bass. And just gluing that together into what you made of this, it's pretty impressive. And some walking arpeggios in the background. Dun, 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 dun. It's not bad. And I always find it kind of... I always find it kind of inspirational with these longer types of melodies. Myself, when I make music, I normally go for 4-bar patterns, a 4-bar loop. And that's the entire melody, repeating over and over. And having a melody spaced out like this, it feels more like one consecutive piece of music somehow. What's funny about that is whatever type of note you want to go to, whatever chord you want to go to, you could do kind of the same pattern with the melody. Dum 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 dum. It's not bad, and that's not bad. I think it's interesting, and it's a cool creative way to use a melody. Made So Well says enjoyable, flat out, and that's what it was to me too. It feels nice and friendly, but still a little bit of that aggression going with the drums and the bass line. And again, what I'm saying about the bass line doing the heavy lifting here, it's not because the bass line is super advanced or complicated or just has a lot of movement or whatever. It just fits really well with the drums. And it's obvious that this is made by a producer who knows what they're doing, Just this extended type of melody and the bass line wouldn't be much. But since you have a lot of stuff going on, counteracting to the entire melody, it works. Some of those stuttery effects and this tremolo stuff going on helps. This is good. It's enjoyable and it feels good to listen to. And I really appreciate what you did with the snare. It's not just but having these also helps a lot with the rhythm. So I think you nailed the everything that we want to talk about, like the rhythm, the harmonies, the melodies, the bass line. It's all in there, and it's all good. Someone says movie music. Yeah, that's also something we talk a lot about. Could this be in a movie and used for something like that? And it really could. Like someone chasing someone else, someone just running through a hotel lobby, jumping into elevators and just hiding away. Not bad. Not bad at all. Someone says that it's a little bit repetitive. You could take something out and end and introduce new instruments. Maybe you could. But since the drums are that like driving, I think for someone like me, I like to be in, as a listener, I like to be in that kind of forward movement of the track. It feels like I'm always, it's always moving, even though, you know, a big breakdown with something completely different would flip the entire vibe. But I think this is pretty good as it is. RTC Shogun entered the chat. Hey man, and welcome to this little show of ours. So we've had 3 beats played so far, which one of them was like a rock instrumental, you know. Let's move into the list of beats. Let's open that one too, so we have everything on screen. And let's scroll to, I don't know, to this one. Okay, that's a weird submission. That's not even a file. Okay. Here we have something from someone called... Okay, that's a typo. Stefan? Stefan? I think that becomes in English. Stefan Schulz. It is just a beat I've made for a friend. Okay, that's all he wrote. It's just a beat I've made for a friend. Cool. Awesome stuff. Let's check it out. By Stefan Schulz. Okay, I had to listen to that one for a little bit longer. Everyone in the chat room are saying exactly what I'm thinking. Like the first thing about this, the snare, it just sticks out. And for like the first minute or 45 seconds or something, honestly, I hated the snare sample. But as I warmed up to it, it kind of stopped bothering me. I still kind of don't love the snare. It feels like this is a solid production in its own right. It's a nice beat, you know? And the problematic thing is the snare, because the snare sticks out. Could you just flat out say that the snare doesn't fit into the beat? I don't know if that's fair, you know? It's different, and it's not a choice I would have made for this. But since you're warming up to it after like a minute in, maybe it's not that bad, but it's still the only thing people are talking about in the chat room. And I think it makes sense, because it's a weird kind of choice, honestly. This is cool. And I mean, we could pick this entire drum set apart. Like the kick drum feels a little bit digital and doesn't have a lot of body and like warmth to it. And that could be fine. But with that type of snare sound, it just doesn't match to me. I don't know if it would be like 10 times better with a different snare sample, but it could be worth testing out, you know? But the chords and the key changes here is really, really interesting and nice. And the amount of different sounds you used for this is pretty impressive to me. It becomes more than it should, you know? If you would have played all these instruments, just kind of simplified the entire thing and played everything on a piano, it wouldn't be that impressive. But in this case, since you have all these different instruments and all these different sounds coming together, it feels like more of a full production than it would otherwise. And that's what music production is, to a big extent. Just taking something that's maybe not that extravagant or special and making it sound larger than life. That ascending kind of chord progression, it feels nice. It feels like it has a story to tell, you know? If you had a rapper on this, it would probably be like a storytelling kind of situation. Someone talking about someone else experiencing something. Or, you know, back in the day kind of track talking about childhood or whatever. More than just brag rapping or battle rhymes, you know? And of course, the piano that comes in works really well. Let's just pretend that we had a really lyrical rapper talking about something important, and then maybe like a female vocalist coming in for the chorus. That's what it sounds like to me. And that's how it could be used, and it would make a lot of sense. I would have tried to take that piano part, increase the volume a little bit and taken it down an octave, because it's really high in the range right now. And that's what you do when you want something to stick out. Like, this is a different section, I want you to pay attention to this, but I don't want it to be too loud. Sure, I understand that, but would it be too blended into the track if it was taken down 12 semitones? Maybe, or maybe not. Make the snare shorter and tune it down 2 or 3 semitones. Tune it down? Are you sure about that? Well, I don't know. Jawlaw says, this is really cool to watch. Thank you. We're trying to do something here that's nice to watch or be a part of. So I appreciate that. Shorty87 is obviously the producer behind this. It's just a premix because I made it for listening by the rapper, so he can mix it like he wants. Okay, cool. You should not, according to me, you should not allow the artist to mix the track. Send a rough mix, sure, and let him have like a few points of feedback or whatever. Take that into consideration, but do the work yourself. That's what I say. Put some reverb on that snare. Should be a good fix. Nope. He already said it was dope. It is dope. But I would mix the entire thing a little bit differently to bring out some of that storytelling vibe of it. Some of that cinematic, like actually grabbing emotion of the track. Maybe you don't need the drums to be that loud at all. Maybe you want to bring out the bass line a little bit and just balance it a little bit differently to give it more of that serious but still cozy kind of vibe. I don't know. This is hard. It's a nice production. It is. The snare, we've said enough about that. Cool. And don't put some reverb on the snare. That's a joke. Don't do that. Never do that, to be honest. Reverb and snare shouldn't be in the same room. Now, let's go to this one. This is Salberts. Salberts in the chat. Hello and thank you for submitting again. Hey Accurate, hey World's Best Community. I just made this short beat, again with samples from Japanese soul/jazz songs I found on YouTube. Would love to sample those parts from vinyl, but hey, better than nothing. For sure, sample whatever. I tried to use some side compression to get more balanced feeling overall. Some transitions aren't that smooth that I wanted them to be, but the more I make, the better I get. That's right. You don't have to be better than everyone. You just have to be better than yesterday. Goal achieved. Yeah, that's a tattoo if I ever heard one. You don't have to be better than everyone. You just have to be better than yesterday. Maybe. But also, sometimes you're just worse than you were yesterday, and that's fine too. Enjoy this song and keep up your very motivational way of making videos. Big love from Germany /Salberts. Okay, Salberts, that's a few nice words in the email, and I do appreciate you being a part of this entire thing. Submitting beats and all that. Awesome. Let's play Salberts, sampling some jazz and soul from Japan. Never a bad idea. That's a nice touch to leaving the bass like that at the end. You know, this is nice. This is just boom. Really good stuff, for sure. A really cool way. I see what you did with the drums, like using the snare and also like switching to the rim shot every now and then in the loop. It's cool, and it's nice to be able to do that without like making the listener go like, "Hey, what happened with the drums?" You know, it's not that weird, it's not that odd, but it's a little bit unpredictable, which is good. I do think this, if we really want to be hard about this and like trying to say something, it feels to me like the flute, let's call it a flute, I guess it's a saxophone or something, but that kind of doom, boom, ba-doom, doom, doesn't really line up with the rhythm somehow. I don't know how you did this one. Maybe you're not just able to, you know, time stretch the thing, but I would try to do something like that, because we're just talking about a few milliseconds or something. That would help with the swing of that, because it feels like it's a little bit too rushed to go with the drums, just a little bit. That's nice. That the last flip around on the third, it's really good. I'm talking about the first, second, and third, because the switch up is on the fourth. You know what I'm saying? It's that that note. It's a little bit early, so I would try to move it a little bit to the right on the timeline to just get more of that swing. But now we're really talking about the details. And to me, this part right here. Now, I want to hear more of that, and maybe less of the loop with the saxophone, flute, whatever. The transition between them is nice. I don't have any complaints about that, but I just want as much of this loop as I'm getting of this loop. That's nice. Great stuff. And I mean, the bass line is fire. All about this is really, really good. And, you know, sends me a reminder to myself to maybe start incorporating different drum samples, not just keeping it to a single snare. Just switching it up like this is really effective. And at the end here, this is beautiful. And it sits just right in the pocket too. Nice. The bass line is awesome. Awesome. Salberts, thanks a lot for sending it in. Someone says Jasmine has, and yeah, that's what it feels like. The loop point is fire. Yeah, it is. Trumpet. Yeah, maybe it's trumpet. I'm calling it flute and saxophone. I guess it's a trumpet. Sure. Yeah, and someone else says, I'd like the first break to continue for longer. The change-up was nice and I wanted to stay there for a bit. That's exactly what I'm saying. The change-up and this secondary pattern of everything is so nice. Just playing it out on the Rhodes piano, just leaving it hanging, letting it breathe a little bit. Really good. and then returning to the trumpet thing. Nice. Now, I think I want to, I need to turn that camera off and back on again. Hold on. What do you mean? What do you mean battery exhausted? It's connected to power, for God's sake. Damn. Let me get another battery. A part of me wants to play music as I do that, but then I'm not going to hear it, so no. Doesn't make sense. Hold on. Okay. I know. No one cares but me. I know. I just want my stuff to work, you know? Salberts, we all love that. You got a lot of praise in the chat room. That's nice. You deserved it. Cool. You deserve it. Let's move on to another one. Let's do this. Someone I don't recognize, I think. Senor Beats. Senor. Senor Beats says, "Hi, I come from Romania, but I live in Paris." And then it's a beat. Okay, so we know where you live. That's nice. And where you're from. Awesome. Let's check it out. Cool. That's a vibe for sure. And I mean, we gotta take into consideration that it's not always easy to make beats, you know? Producing or programming or even manually playing drums like that it's a bit difficult to still get it to hold up and work. And I think it's really cool. Whenever you hear drums like that, you know that someone put a lot of thought into this. My problem with this one, if I do have a problem with this one, is that like the rhythm and the feeling you're getting from the drums doesn't really come through with the rest of the instruments as clearly as I think it should. It becomes this really choppy kind of swing, and it feels somehow like the rest of the instruments doesn't follow along 100%. Maybe like 90% of the way there, but not 100%. Those piano notes, do-da-dum-dum, they feel a little bit too straight to fit the drums. We're really being hard now, but you know, there's a little bit of a disconnect between the two. Grumpy Snorlax says he's not a huge fan of the bass note, the bass tone. I think it would be better with an upright type of bass sound. Allow me to maybe disagree. I don't hate it. I don't. Would it be better with like an acoustic kind of upright bass sound? Maybe it would. Impossible to say at this point. But am I the only one picking up on the disconnect between the drums and the rest of the stuff? I might be wrong. Someone says excellent ear candy. Yeah, for sure. All those works wonderfully well. John says, I would like to hear the drums breathe a little bit more. Maybe a solid snare instead of those double hits. Huh. Maybe just a simple thing like cutting the bass notes a little bit shorter than they are would kind of improve the feel of the rhythm to make more sense. The thing I'm talking about. Maybe instead of having boom, 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 maybe you should synchronize the end of the bass notes with the rhythm in a different way. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know. It's a dope track, and there's a lot of work behind this. Again, having the drums being that kind of strange and weird, but still making them work. Good stuff. I don't know. I kind of dig that piano drums timing feel contrast. Yeah, maybe. I'm just trying to pick things apart. Sometimes maybe a little bit too much. Maybe I'm just overanalyzing. That's what I do all the time. That's what this live stream is all about. Me overanalyzing. But it's a nice track for sure. I love the idea and the drums, the programming. Oh. Cool. So my windows are all messed up. There we are. This one came from Lom Beats, and there's a lot of opinions in the chat room as well. I have a problem just following along, reading everything and still kind of talking. I think that is a beat you only can appreciate when you're a beat maker yourself. Yeah, that's, that's a perspective we rarely take. I'm a producer. Most of you are producers as well. And sure, listening to this is impressive and it's cool and you can hear all the stuff that's going on. But for someone who doesn't know music production, is this just too strange? Boom, boom, boom. Love that. I don't think it is. I think anyone could enjoy this, but, being into music production makes us all a little bit weird, right? In the best and most beautiful way possible, of course. We're all beautiful people, right? Now, we have someone called Bled K. B-L-E-D-K. Bled K, who says much love and sends a file over here like that. Boom. Okay, you need to press that one too. Cool. So, yeah, this started out real good. And a little bit of bit reduction. Yeah. And that West Coast kind of synth on top of everything, It's nice. To me, again, as a producer myself, it feels like you have everything you need here to make a dope track. The drums, the rhythm, the programming, awesome stuff, just straight up boom bap, chill and relaxed and nice flowing, and the sample chops and that like West Coasty kind of synth, the deep bass and everything. But to me, now I'm being really harsh. I know. But to me, it feels like you have all the ingredients for something great. And you made something really good. You know? This is really good. The bass line is boom. All the different parts are in there. You have all the ingredients, but it feels like you should be able to chop this a little bit differently. Just switch it up and make it more alive somehow. This is, I'm being harsh now. We are on a level where everything it's really good. Really, really good. But it feels like with all these ingredients, you could have done a little bit more. I don't know. Is this Donny Hathaway? Maybe it is. Oh, okay, this is a different section. I mean, this is... okay, I'm struggling now. I don't even know what to say. I kind of painted myself into this corner where I want to do something more with these ingredients, but I don't know what. It's really hard to say what. Maybe it's just me being a producer myself wanting to add something more. Because now you have the bass, you have the drums, you have the synth, and you have the sample. But maybe if I made this myself, I would have tried to nail the foundation of the chords with, I don't know, a piano sound or something like that. Organ, something else that just plays somewhere in the mids, in the mids when it comes to frequencies. You are done when it comes to the low stuff. The bass line is awesome. The kick drum fits nicely in there, and everything on top with the synth and everything. Sure, but it feels like it could be a little bit bigger, a little bit more worked on. In terms of just adding more. I don't know. I keep saying that you have all the ingredients, and I think you do. But there's something. I hear even more potential. You know what you're doing. You do know what you're doing, and you kind of hit most of the spots right where it needs to be hit. But there's something. Just a hooky kind of quality that it feels like you're missing. Impossible for me to say what it is. Chat room, is anyone... Am I just, not making sense? Is the bass out of tune? Not sure. No, I don't think it is. Maybe a little bit, and you could do more with the bass. Playing more notes on the bass maybe would have destroyed the entire thing. Whoo, this is hard. Bled K, I'm still learning. Okay. So you're still learning. Does that mean that you're kind of new to this? In that case, boom. Forget everything I'm saying. This is good. This is high quality stuff, I'm just being harsh talking about the details of things. You got most of the way there. I love that pattern too, the switch up. The drums, everything here is good. This is a good beat. This is fire. This is dope. You know, that's what it is. I'm just trying to find what could be better. And I'm struggling. So making this beat, you know, and listening to me sitting here being like, yeah, it could be even better. I don't even know what I'm talking about. So fuck me. The bass is fine. Just do more with the sample. Maybe that's the solution. I don't know. Could get free and work more with some points with the sequencer. Maybe, I don't know. I wish I could put my finger on what I'm talking about. But yeah, maybe I would try to like work on the bass line to make the bass line have a few more notes and being a little bit more interesting in terms of rhythm. Just now it's pretty much dome, 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 da dome, dome. That's nice. It could be fine. Maybe it could be improved. I don't know. This is difficult. Sorry. We do have a new member on the channel who became a member themselves. We had 5 before, donated by Tatro. Thank you. Now we have Capabona. Not Capadonna from the Wu-Tang family, but Capabona. Thank you for being a supporter, becoming a supporter, saying all of these beats are so cool. You guys are super. And you are. That needs to be pointed out. You guys are what's driving this entire show or stream. And you are fantastic, all of you. Bled K, if you are new to this and you're still learning and whatever, fuck me and forget about what I said. This is dope stuff. Make more of it. More of the same. Find that hooky pattern things that I'm trying to go for to make me happy. But, you know, don't make music to me. And we have another submission from Bled K. Okay, we're not doing that. Sorry. So let's go to the email again and take this one. By Ken Don. Been a while since I've checked out the stream. Flow stated an SP404 sketch into a full track on Saturday night. I hope you like it. Cool. A lot of people are working on the SP404. A lot of people are. So this came from Ken Don. Let's have a listen.
Been on my mind. Spend all my time. A crazy thing to have and lose. Find it hard to believe, but I got evidence to prove. A hole inside my heart and the shape matches you. Roll the tape back to face facts, the face matches too. But the time passed, collapsed into reality. The class slip and turn back, as we both knew it had to be a figment of imagination. Nothing can feel so perfect and pass the test of patience. I guess it's best we waited. But it don't mean that it still don't hurt. Cause the new me, like the old me, think it's still gonna work. I've been a fool before, I'll be a fool again. I guess that leaves insanity to be my only friend. Been out my mind since losing you. Spend all my time thinking about you. Been out my mind since losing you. Spend all my time thinking about you. Been out my mind since losing you. Spend all my time thinking about you. I've been on my mind for a bit now. Reality is really starting to hit. Wow, I gotta come back from the edge. I was perched on the worst one so far. The hurt comes so hard, the time just goes on. No matter what I feel, the scars I grow won't remind me that it's real. I treat this moment of clarity as a sign and hope that we can meet another time. Cause I've been out my mind since losing you. Spending all my time thinking about you. Been out my mind since losing you. Spend all my time thinking about you. Out my mind since losing you. Spend all my time thinking about you.
And the classic radio fade out that allows me to feel like a proper radio host. That's nice. It's something cool about that. When the volume like fades out and I'm starting to talk, I think it's nice. Well, this was a great piece of music. Unfortunately, there's something going on with the vocal. Maybe it's just a bad recording. Maybe it's just a sketch or whatever. If not, there's some processing going on with the vocals that just makes them stick out in not the most pleasing way. Apart from that, the vibe and the rhythm and the vibe and the feeling here is awesome. And the movement in like the chord instrument, the pad or the whatever it might be, lifts the entire production to a whole new level. Just introducing some type of movement in audio like that makes things just feel so much more dynamic and natural and easy and pleasing and beautiful. Nice. Love it. Now there's a lot of filtering and stuff going on. Maybe just someone going a little bit like, I want this to be lo-fi, so I'm going to do all these settings. Maybe you don't have to. Sometimes a little bit cleaner is not necessarily bad. But, the singing, the vocals, they fit so nicely. And the rap too. Fits really well onto the beat, I should say. The audio quality and the mixing though, we do need some improvements right there.
But I got evidence to prove. A hole inside my heart and the shape matches you. Roll the tape back to face facts, the face matches too. But the time passed, collapsed into reality, the class.
Something happens when you go that crazy with the filters, because the bass just sticks out in a really cool way that's really like telling for this genre. And it's nice. It's just sometimes it needs to be balanced with something else. The entire vibe here, I'm just...
Turn back, so we both knew it had to be.
This is great stuff.
Imagination. Nothing can feel so perfect and pass the test of patience. I guess it's best we waited. But it don't mean that it still don't hurt. Cause the new me, like the old me, think it's still gonna work. I've been the fool before.
Some of those bass notes. Super funky stuff. But, the style of rapping makes it feel really laid back and really chill. The tempo of the beat, it's not a slow beat. And it's not like super low energy as an instrumental. But with this type of rapping, it becomes really easy to listen to and really pleasing. The mixing and the processing is not great though. That needs to be said. Okay, Ken Don is telling us a few things in the chat. I ran the hook vocals and the instruments through the Chroma console into the SP. I ran the hook vocals and the instruments through the Chroma console. I mean, putting vocals through the Chroma console could be a good idea. Well, I like those vocals more than the sound of the rap vocal.
I've been on my mind for a bit now. Reality is really starting to hit. Wow, I gotta come back from the edge I was perched on. The worst one so far. The hurt comes so hard. The time just goes on. No matter what I feel, the scars I.
This is great stuff. Great stuff. I would consider a different microphone for backup vocals. Tame them, push them back in the room. Yeah, maybe that's a solution. Carbon Vibes says it's a really nice idea. A little bit more polishing and it's solid. I mean, the production and the entire song here is fire. This is really good. But there's something about the mixing of the vocals that just sticks out in a way that's not. Beat Owl says, I think it's very creative and unique. It is. It's creative and unique. Is it good though? Talking about the choices you made with the mixing and the vocals and stuff. It's not bad, but it, doesn't sound right somehow. Everything doesn't always have to be right. I know we're here to break the rules and all that, but still. The beat, the instrumental, really good stuff. The movement going on in the main sample or pad or whatever it is. That's the chroma console, I guess. That makes the entire thing feel like lo-fi and like stuff is going on. Great stuff. Billy Pants is not a fan of the vocal sound. No, me neither. Grumpy Snorlax is leaving us. Work just called. Cool. I don't know where I recognize you from, but Grumpy Snorlax is just one of those names that put you in my mind. I know you from somewhere. Maybe I'm just following you on Instagram and you posted all this stuff. I don't know. Glad to have you here. And that goes for every single one of you, of course. Beat Owl made so well and Billy Pats and all the regulars. You guys are awesome. Ken Don is also awesome. This is great stuff. Sorry for bashing on the vocal. It is what it is. The beat, the production, the vocals on the chorus, the verse is nice. Just the audio of it, that's not nice.
I guess it's best we waited, but it don't mean that it still don't hurt. Cause the new me, like the old me, think it's still gonna work.
I hear a little bit of Mac Miller in there, just a little bit. Cool. So should we move on to something else? Okay. I think we should. Definitely, 100%. Let me just scroll up. No. Some of the emails are hiding away. So let's find... Okay, we need to refresh. And that got even worse. 2 are hiding over there and 6 are hiding over there. And I also think I forgot to label one of them as red. So let's go for this one. Okay. Some of the submissions aren't actually coming through with files. Maybe it's the system, maybe it's you guys submitting stuff without like attaching a file, but that doesn't help me. Let's go for this one. LUV Beats. Hi, Accurate. Last week you didn't listen to my beat, unfortunately. This is the first beat that made me dance through the whole cook-up process. Truly jazzy. LUV Beats, love beats. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm picking beats by random. You didn't get picked last week, but you did just now. So let's play you. Let's play your music. Let's open up the file. Let's import it into VLC. And let's listen to it. LUV Beats. This is the first beat that I made. This is the first beat that made me dance through the entire cook-up process. That's, that's not bad. Let's have a listen. Okay. You know, what I'm trying to do here is picking things apart. I'm trying to listen to the beat itself, and I'm trying to focus on the drums, and then on the bass line, and then on the melodic information about the different things. And some beats doesn't really hold up for that type of analysis, and some beats becomes better when you do that. You know? A normal listener would just listen to the music and just say, I like it or I don't like it, but people like us tend to think more about the different building blocks. And a beat like this is almost becoming better when you start listening to it like that. When you start paying attention to like what's really going on with the bass line, and you start understanding, yeah, this is what it does in terms of rhythm. And that works in this type of way with the drums. And then we have all these like suspended chords. I'm not sure that's what it is, but you know, chords that builds tension and comes to a really nice and you know, welcoming type of release. Really good stuff. Nice and relaxing and really takes you on a ride. And then, yeah, the music is like playing with you, introducing different sections, different parts, and just makes you think a little bit like that. And then, oh, all of a sudden, something else happens. This is great stuff. This got you dancing during the whole process of making it. I understand that. This is really jazzy and really nice in terms of the swing. You know, awesome stuff right there. I have, I have a little bit of a problem with this one. I want more clarity of this stuff. We have a lot of high frequencies in the marimba or whatever it is, but I want the entire frequency range to be a little bit lifted up. You know, we have a lot of low stuff. That's cool. But I would just tweak the entire EQ curve to be a little bit brighter. I want a little bit more brightness and clarity just to make it cut through a little bit. But that's me. Not being like, you know, lo-fi is not my religion, you know. Because the way that upright bass just fills out that space down there, it's beautiful. But I want something to like push me a little bit up in the frequency range. Introducing a little bit of clarity and a little bit of brightness would probably help just a little bit. I'm not talking about anything that like destroys the vibe of this one, destroys the moodiness. No, I'm just talking about tiny tweaks, a little bit more brightness. I think that's kind of obvious just from me talking over it. It feels like it's, you know, we have a lot of low frequencies. Is there like a low pass filter on the entire thing? Because the way I hear it right now, my voice is kind of cutting through. And this is on the same volume where we played the beat in itself. So should you have space enough for me to speak like this on top of it, on this volume? I don't know. And sure, me speaking on top of the beat like that is disturbing and it becomes too much. But still, should I have that much space? Maybe that's what makes it breathable and open. But I would just like a little bit more clarity. That's all I'm saying. Billy Pat says, this one sounds like I'm on hold. Oh, yeah, okay. But that's the marimba. Or xylophone or whatever it is. Yeah, there's not a lot above 2,500 here. No. And to me, like, I'm not saying this about you in particular, LUV Beats, but I think there's this misconception about, that's not even a word. I think there's this misunderstanding that lo-fi is all about the bass. And just take whatever piece of music you want and just put a low-pass filter on it. Just take out all the high frequencies, all the hi-fi, and then it becomes lo-fi. And that's cool and moody. And to a certain extent, that's true. But you still want to be able to listen to your music in a playlist with other stuff without just being background music. I would like to see the spectrum of that one. Yeah, so that means I'm right, I think, a little bit. It's not a bad beat. It's a fantastic piece of music. It's jazzy, it's vibey, it's cool. You know, those laid back drums with the rim shot. And it has this boom, this kind of swing to it. It's beautiful. It is. Yeah. Great stuff. Great stuff. A little bit more clarity, please. Okay, cool. We are moving slower than usual. I'm noticing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 beats. That's all we've gone through. I'm sorry about that, but I'm still not sorry about that. It is what it is. Here is another one from Horrorhead. That's Horrorhead. Evil. The message reads, "Have a nice day." Cool. And I want to explain this on the stream itself. Someone asked, I'm talking about emails. And yeah, when you submit your beat on my website creates an email to send it to me with the link to the file and everything all sorted out and nicely delivered. So when I'm referring to it as an email, it's not an email from the actual beat maker or producer. It's an email from Squarespace with the information in it. So you're still not able to just send emails because that would be crazy. This system works. And it's emails, but it's not emails. Pfft, who cares? Horror Music. Was that the name? Horrorhead. My bad. Let's go. Okay. 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 So that just happened. Whew. I don't even know where to start. I make the kind of music I make because I like that type of music. I've always said that this beat review concept is open to anyone, and it is. We've had everything from like crazy folk music, kind of ballads and stuff, and we had a rock instrumental earlier this show, in this episode. What happened here, I don't know. I did not expect this. Horrorhead, have a great day, smiley face, Horrorhead Beats. I mean, this is hard stuff right here. Is this dubstep, drum and bass, techno? I don't even know these words, you know? I heard a Prodigy smack my bitch up sample. And this is not, you know, as far as being a music producer in like the digital realm, it's not bad at all. This is well produced music for sure. To me, honestly, I can't listen to this stuff. I can't. Let's lower the volume a little bit and see what happens if we just put the needle down. Okay, that's dubstep. And a spin back effect, siren. Pitch modulation. That vocal sits nicely in there. I'm not a fan of the bass notes. Bounk, bounk, bounk. But honestly speaking, it's well produced, for sure. 100% well produced, properly mixed, and a lot of like brick wall limiting going on. That's not bad, but it becomes, to someone like me, it becomes so intense, so in your face, so aggressive, so much. Even in this part, even in this section right here, a breakdown. Here. To me, even this is intense. We don't have any drums and anything. It's just intense. I wrote in the chat room, maybe that's mean to call this Beat Saber music, but I have played a little bit of Beat Saber on the MerQuest 3, and this sounds exactly like one of those tracks. To me, terrible music, just awful to listen to. But sure, it has energy and a lot of punch and stuff to it. Some 303 types of stuff too. Whew. What to say about this? I think it's technically two-step. Okay, maybe this is two-step. Is that even a genre that exists anymore? It's not drum and bass. Sure, I can take that. Beat Saber live. Yeah, I'm not doing that on a live stream. That's me being alone in my living room, just trying to hit the notes, me just playing around. Yeah, okay. Horrorhead is in the chat room and he said something. What did you say? Horrorhead, I lost you. It's a bit of an older beat, just like experimenting. I mean, I'm not hating on this. It's well produced. It's just not something I'm ready to listen to. I like dynamics. I like swing and air in music, and I like vibiness, and sometimes beats can be a little bit faster in tempo and whatever, more aggressive in energy, sure. But to me, this is just like, yeah, let's put every single volume knob on full blast and just go ham. He says, it's an older beat I found in the vault. It's mostly a battle beat, a couple of years old. I thought I'd send something a little bit different. You sure did. And I appreciate the fact that you sent this one over. I'm just too stupid to have anything valuable to say about it. To me, it's nice and polished and it feels like a finished track. I don't understand the genre. I don't understand the aesthetic behind this. But, everything is not supposed to be for everyone. You're allowed to have a musical taste. Now, let's move along to something else and see if Carbon Vibes has something for us. Carbon Vibes has been featured a lot, but that's where I landed in my random scrolling through the emails. Carbon Vibes says, hello there, Accurate. Hope you're doing well and staying in good spirits. Attached is my beat submission for today. This was another beat sample challenge for last month. Much love and respect. Carbon. Let's play Carbon Vibes, y'all. Let's have a listen.
Whatever it is you're here to express, to create, whether you're a musician or an artist.
Carbone.
Yeah, cool. This is not the first time we've heard something from Carbon Beats, Carbon Vibes in this genre. And Carbon, what are you working on? What are you using in terms of gear for this? That would be interesting to know, just in this case. Something about your way of making music makes me just, I can relate to every single thing you did here. Because chopping a sample and using it like that, I could see myself do that 100%. the same way. My points of feedback about this one: wouldn't it be cool to just hear what a little bit of sidechain compression could do in this case? To me, first of all, it feels like the drums are a little bit loud in the mix, because you have a lot of cool melodic stuff going on in the sample, even though I think this section right here,
whatever it is,
went on for a little bit long. That became a little bit repetitive there at the middle. But a little bit lower drums, maybe, and some sidechaining some of the vocals and the high-pitched stuff to the bass drum, the kick drum. Maybe that could, improve the groove and the amount of space in the mix, or maybe not. But this is cool. A great way of using the vocals. Love that. And the way it opens up, I think over here. When the piano comes in like that. Let's give this 10 seconds. This section right here is, something magical is happening. Hold on. No. I can't find it. That minor kind of tension that builds up here. It's nice. Are you quantizing? That's a good question. Strictly on my MPC-1. Yeah, but because it feels to me like I can see you having the chops on pads and going like, that type of workflow. I can almost hear the MPC workflow being triggered here. This is nice. Carbon Vibes is always bringing us some good stuff. This one maybe could be polished a little bit to reach like the next level, but again, I'm talking out of my ass. The string samples. That's what I'm talking about. The strings, and then the piano. It's a nice call and response thing. Feels majestic in a way that, like, knights on horses going on to a fight, a war type of beat. Awesome stuff. I think finding some drum sounds that sounds like they're a part of the same kit, if you know what I mean. More variation would be nice. If there's rap, I don't think it needs to. Okay, maybe so. Carbon Vibes is saying, I mainly use the MPC, but moving forward I will be using Ableton since the MPC doesn't have great use for EQ and other plugins. I don't know if I agree with you, but sure. Yeah, good stuff. Rebalance the mix a little bit maybe, but maybe not. I don't know. Nice work for sure. And we have been live I started like 8:30 instead of 8, and now it's 10:43. So let's play one more. Let's do one more piece of music. That's going to be nice. So let's double check this. What happened? Notifications for days. It is what it is. So in this email, in this again, a few beats are hiding from me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Then now it becomes 30 again. Cool. So let's do one over. Let's see. I did a few ones in the beginning, a lot of ones in the middle, and at the end. Okay, we have a gap over here. We do have a gap right here. Okay, now I'm starting to read the names. That's not allowed. We are doing this randomly. So someone in the chat room give me a number between 1 and 30 and we're going to pick that beat and play it. I'm starting to read the names and I'm cheating because I don't want to do that. Let's try to be as random as possible. Give me a number 1 through 30. Made so well with the super chat. Steel sharpens steel. Cup on the good work, y'all. I love it here, and I hope you all do too. So the first number that came in was 27. Okay, 27. That's 30 minus 3. So that's 30, 29, 28, 27. We already played 27. The next number was 13. Okay, let's do number 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Fucking finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13. You said 13, which lands on, okay, there we are. Neil Jack. That's number 13 in the list. Hasn't been played. Neil Jack. Shout out Underbelly BUCI. Shout out Underbelly BUCI and all the dope I need to leave. Can't even say words anymore. Shout out to Underbelly BUCI and all the dope producers that submitted last week. Great job, everyone, and accurate. You're the man. The beat is called Monster Remix by Neil Jack. Let's go.
Let me truth on the verse. If they paid you to do it, you don't gotta ask what you worth. Me Me and Savage, we came from the dirt. If you rapping for money, you silly. This shit ain't a milli, this shit is 100. The industry savage, and most of you average. Ain't afraid of no static. I'm busting, he might be an addict. He drinking that tussin', he know where you live, where you work, do you trust him?
That's a low blow. She gon' try and blame it on YOLO. Niggas out here trying to rap me. I ain't giving no free promo. He cuffing, he a caught like Robo. I'ma pass to the gang like Romo. Brand new Rari, I'm solo. Finna go shopping in Soho. You could dump me in the middle of the ocean, I'm still coming out dry.
Okay, so I don't have really, I don't have. I'm not sure what this is. It's not like I know this song by heart or anything, but it's a remix. But let's talk about the beat production and the mixing here, because we do have a few issues with the mixing and the overall like placement of the sound and volume and stuff. But there's a lot of bounce in that kick drum, and that kick drum pattern is really cool. It's a nice vibe. And that type of bass line works wonderfully well with that type of tempo and, that crazy kick drum pattern. There's something about the mixing though. I mean, the kick drum is super heavy and super punchy, and it's nice, overly compressed or something. I don't know. And the bass line, it's really funky and it has a nice vibe and a lot of energy to it. But again, I'm asking for more clarity and more nuance and a better balance between all the different sections. But this is not just drums and bass. There's a lot of stuff going on, but the vocal takes up a lot of space too.
Oh, Mr. O, I'm gonna shoot that baby mama if I got the bow. Oh, hey, bodyguards going through customs.
And that kind of ride cymbal, we don't hear that a lot. I mean, on this beat review series, the number of times I've heard cymbals at all, sure, a lot of people wants to add like a big crash cymbal on the one sometimes, but this is a great creative use of a ride cymbal.
If I got the bow. Oh, hey.
Just going jing, 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 gong. Sometimes effective.
Bodyguards going through customs. What with them boys got handguns? Cause most of your friends can't trust them. Cloud chasing. Let me truth on the verse. If they paid you to do it, you don't gotta ask what you worth. Me and Savage, we came from the dirt. If you rapping for money.
As someone's saying in the chat room, made so well, there's a great idea in there. 100% it is. The entire vibe and the energy and everything, I love it. But it doesn't come through the way it should because of the weirdness going on in the mix. In the beginning here, before we had any vocals, and that sample right there is out of pitch. Completely. What? That's at least a few semitones wrong. I guess that's a part of the vocal. It still doesn't work with the beat. But it's difficult to pinpoint stuff in this because of the mix and because of the lack of a good mix, I guess.
Drip there, got young boy drop. Drinking that tussin', he know where you live, where you work, do you trust him?
I love the idea. Someone said it feels like a race car kind of thing. I feel like you were driving in a car through a bog, dragging the speakers behind you. I mean, yeah, the mix is not much to brag about, but I'm thinking about NASCAR somehow. And I'm not a NASCAR fan or anything. It's just, it feels like a beat. Do you remember the Daytona 500 track by Ghostface Killah? That has this anime kind of music video to it. Has that vibe of it.
I wouldn't be nothing, but I went far. I could pay your salary for 10 years with one card.
And all those. I like it. I do. I was thinking skateboard video game. Yeah, playing Skate 3, Skater XL, or...
All the pain and all the stress.
Varial kick flipping. Yeah, makes sense. Cool. Neil Yak. Like the ideas in there. It's not a bad piece of music, but something about the mixing and the overall whatever. Not sure. Other than all that, it's great. Let's play one more just for the hell of it. We were 27, 13, 26. Okay, 26. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26 has also been played. So, someone said 27 again. Number 7. Okay, from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 has also been played. You guys suck at saying numbers. 17? Didn't we? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Oh, it's Neil Yak again. I forgot to mention I used the vocal from 21 Savage. Okay, so it's not an actual submission. It's the same track as we just played. 13, 11. Let's go for 11. And I know this is the worst way to pick a submission, but whatever. This is the last one for today. 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Here we are, Leonardo Basso. Leonardo Basso. It's a song I'm working on. I added a sax solo like 30 minutes ago at 3:23. I would love you reviewing that part especially. Okay, so we need to play 3.5 minutes of this, and we are not. So let's download it and not listening to it from the start, because it's going to be 2 minutes, and you want me to include 3:30. Okay, let's play the intro and a little bit, and then skip forward to the sax solo. Yeah, okay, Leonardo Basso, it's you. I recognize the sound and the thing. Let's go. So I think we got the general idea here. Oh. that's a minute. Let's skip to 3:30 or 3:17. Oh, cool. So that's the sax solo. Because this is what it sounds like. And then we got I mean it's beautiful. That kind of sax solo really makes it evolve into like you know, it's just nice and melodic and it fits nicely in there. This sound, this entire like aesthetic of music feels very 80s. And I pointed out DX7 kind of vibe and he immediately answered or replied, it's the DX7 piano, the DEX stimulation. Sure, I nailed that, didn't I? It feels very 80s and, you know, it's nice. In terms of a composition, it's just, you know, we have the bass, da-dum, dum, da-dum, dum, da-dum, da-dum, dum, da-dum. Really cool. Nice and laid back and friendly and just nice in a happy kind of soul-y, jazzy, old-timey kind of vibe. Like early 80s. That second note, that overtone kind of here. There's a lot of musicality going on there. A lot of musicality. I gotta be honest though and say that this like genre of music, even though it's well produced, it has a lot of like personality and, you know, I'm understanding the vibe you're going for. It feels old schooly in a way that it's like the personality of it gets lost somewhere down the road because it's, I don't know. I mean, in terms of genre, what genre of music is this? Because we're definitely not talking about hip-hop beats, lo-fi, boom bap, chill hop, anything like that. This is just straight up chill jazz. Like loungy kind of jazz with a like exotic kind of vibe. Billy Pads? No, I'm sorry. I won't search through the emails to find your submission from a while ago. Sorry. Not in this case. The genre is Sound Blaster 16. That's a reference that goes above the head of so many people. It's easy listening. Yeah. Wedding dinner music. Maybe it is. And a part of me feels like there's a lot of parts in music like this that could be used as samples and just flipped in a different way. Because it feels mean to say, but what's the purpose of music like this? What's the purpose of art You know, it's a bigger question than that. And the musicality is in there. It's like good music, well produced, and it sounds really genre specific. If we're talking about 80s lounge, easy listening jazz. But is it exciting? Maybe not. Does it have to be exciting though? I don't think so. And a lot of those things with the drum machine going like it's fun. There's a lot of fun going on here. And he says, I don't know, I'm really into city pop and 80s funk at the moment, and I'll try to do something inspired by that. City pop, is that a genre? 80s funk? Yeah, I mean, the bass line here is funky. And a part of me, I mean, the old school Dr. Dre kind of G-funk vibe is in here, but it's friendlier and nicer and cuter than that. Yeah, it's good stuff. I appreciate it. It's fun. And you know, having this like that and me just saying farewell, logging out and just shutting down the live stream, this is a vibe, just playing the music in the background. Maybe not even that low. Maybe like that. Yeah. All right, people. So that's all we have for this little live stream for today. And as I said before, next week will not be a live stream like this. We're not doing beat reviews next week because it's been a lot of them and it's time to take a little bit of a break to do something else. Maybe just hanging out, chatting about gear, maybe actually watching some videos, reacting on stuff, I don't know. Maybe making beats myself, creating something in here with pieces of gear and whatever. You never know. Something's gonna happen and something's gonna be done. I can't stand this. No. That puts me in a specific kind of mode where I don't want to be right now. So we are about to end the show. Thanks a lot to everyone who submitted beats. Thanks a lot to everyone who hung out in the chat room, giving each other feedback and all that stuff. I appreciate it. This is really cool. And as I was saying with the music playing, having a hard time focusing. Next week, we're not doing beat reviews. We're doing something else Monday at 8 o'clock. Or maybe not. Maybe that's not going to be anything. I have a video to work on that I need to finish tomorrow. Maybe that's launching soon. Then, I don't know. Stuff is going to happen. Stuff is going to come up. It's going to be fun. And it's going to be creative. And beats. And music. And I don't even know. I'm not going to promise anything. All I know is that next week, next Monday, no beat review. Keep that in mind. And some people told me that you found this loophole on my website where you can submit beats even though it's closed. I know. It's just a matter of going to the same URL. It's just a link. I just hit it. Now it should be different though. So if you try to get into the website to submit a beat when we're not live, I'm still not going to bother. And now I don't think you're going to be able to because I made some adjustments. Or maybe not. I suck at this thing. I'm not a web designer. So, thanks a lot to everyone. I hope to see you guys in the next live stream, whatever that's going to be and whenever it's going to be. And in my next video, talking about a really exciting piece of gear. That's going to come up too. Thanks a lot for being here. Gotta go to bed. Peace out to that camera. Good night, everyone. And also to that camera. Peace out. Take care. Peace out, gangsters.